Hey, folks, I feel terrible. I really feel terrible. We misled you last week. Ed called. He was 5-2. I hate to tell you, I'm not even going to tell you what we were, but all I know is we got our fannies reamed.
Good, Billy.
And I tell you, so Ed's going to have to work with Rick a little more. I don't know who the hell is going to work with me. I don't know who's going to work with me. And I don't know who's going to work.
We're not lining up for that assignment.
Well, but I know who's going to work on you.
All I know is
bad.
when we talk about the Bristol Tap and that big burger countdown, Harry's got 5 on there.
But
really, Rick, in all honesty, it was your first time on. You may have been a little nervous, although it didn't show up in his performance.
Nervous. Well, he wasn't nervous.
Were you nervous at all?
Tell him a story about our 3 games that were bad.
Not really, but yeah, we had a tough week, but I mean, the one with Tampa Bay on Monday night, there's nothing you can do about that. Philly, totally under control. Can't do nothing about that.
Right.
And Kansas City, with 2 minutes to go, was winning the game, and they fumbled and lost that one. So,
Philly was ahead 8 points with a minute and 14 seconds receiving the ball.
I know. It's just outrageous. It was just one of those weeks,
Right. I mean, how can...
And John Gruden, man, I'm mad at you. I'm going to give you your facial expression like you do, like this and stuff like
Gruden? What'd he do to you?
Chunky?
You got beat you.
Chucky,
his team got beat.
It was up 35-14 with 4 minutes to go in the game.
4 minutes to go in the game.
Gave up a few touchdowns, didn't he?
And and Ed picked Indianapolis.
Well, he got lucky. And Eddie knows that. He knows luck is a part of the game.
Very big part.
And speaking of luck, Rick, did you see that Bears game?
Oh. It's the only one I had right.
I didn't.
Did you see this team coming together finally?
That's the same thing happened to me right there. 17-0 to half. They didn't score a point the second half.
They got away from the run.
They got away from the run.
Yes, they did.
And that's going to hurt you every time.
Oh, you're all right, Chief. You don't tell me what I got to do today, okay? Tell me what I got to do, all right?
But, Rick, what you said about Oakland, and here you might have echoed this, I'm not sure, I've checked the tape, but they did look old.
Oh.
Old and slow.
And slow.
And slow.
Ooh. I think you could run faster than them.
I'm telling you. That Gannon, he getting old, and he's getting old.
And Henry. He got all over that kid that took Porter's place because he wasn't running the correct routes.
It was not a pretty sight on that sideline.
No, it was not.
But how about the job that Dick Duran did at halftime? He must have really given them a speech, huh?
I'm happy for him. I like Duran. I really do. But he's going to get canned. Angelo's got a bead right on him right like that. Believe me, he wants to get his boy up here.
First time he ever showed a little emotion, didn't he, at halftime? He was pissed off.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Usually he's trying to always make, being a nice guy and everything. He was flat out mad. That was good to see.
Look what happened. Look what the result was, Harry.
That's right. But, their little young offensive line, really helped them coming back was the right guard, Vineral or something. Valerio. He helped them. And the big kid from Wisconsin, they were pulling him. He loved the pull. He looked like a freight train coming down.
He sure did, coming around that corner, didn't he? The big boy was running.
But you see at one time he had a guy hooked. The referee stood there looking right at him. He had the guy hooked like that. I thought he was going to choke him to death.
Well, we all know the officiating, maybe not up to par, league-wide. And the big call on Monday night was another one with Simeon Rice going up, and I guess he landed on it. I thought the whole theory behind football was that guys land on each other, but
exactly.
Well, it's the same type of rule. You remember it cost the Oakland to go to the Super Bowl, the tuck rule, where the guy had the ball like this, and he started to go up like this with it, and the guy punched the ball out, and he says, you can't do that. So
you know what that rule's for? They said that rule's to protect the players.
Yeah.
That rule's for it. It don't look like Simeon Rice was in too big a problem.
I didn't think so.
No. But, that still wouldn't get covered a thing for us.
No, it wasn't going to.
No.
Not at all.
No, at that point, the spread had been just about covered.
Done.
And we had lost. And it's no big deal because, Rick, the beautiful thing about this show is there's always next week. And whatever happened last week, you leave it behind, right, Harry?
Yes, and what do we got going this week?
No, that's a good question. And I did a lot of homework before you guys got over here. And I was very well prepared. And we've got 7 excellent, high-quality games to choose from.
Let's go.
Harry's ready, and I guess since you were the loser, Harry.
No, he's going to start. We already got it arranged.
Is that true?
He's got it handicapped.
He said he wants me to start.
Handicap.
And when does Eddie get back? Have you talked to Eddie at all?
He's getting back late tonight.
Well, what are you, his wife?
My wife has accused me of that. He's my second.
Boy, is he going to give me a hard time after filling in for him on this.
Yeah.
I better rebound this week, or oh boy.
Well, we hope so. And there's good games all around the league, and of course, stay tuned to those Cubs. It's kind of hard to sit here on Thursday, series tied 1-1, and by the time you folks are seeing this, hopefully good things are happening there.
Hey, by the way, on Ed, somebody told me the places he went into out there was no TV, no radio, no nothing. I don't know what Ed did. I bet he did a lot of drinking. He
does well at that. He'll be okay.
He couldn't see any games or anything like that.
That must drive him crazy.
Oh, I'm telling you.
I hope his cell phone worked. Okay, Rick, Harry has said that you're going to pick the first game, and it's a good one. Tampa, who we all know what happened to them, they are at Washington, and they're favored by 3 points. Washington Redskins, home dog.
Well, one of my favorite things is taking the home dog, and Washington's playing pretty good. But, I did a little research on this, and so far this year, 14-3 favorites on the road. 14-3 so far. And I keep on taking the home dog, and they keep on getting their butt kicked. And I took Atlanta, and Minnesota kicked their butt. So the way I'm looking at it is Tampa Bay, a little embarrassing last week. Usually a pretty solid team. And I'm looking at Tampa Bay coming back this week.
Even with the short week.
Even with the short week. Every game's close. Washington, every game's decided by 3.
Yeah, it has.
Every game.
In the last ball game. Right.
But I saw what Philly just shut Washington down, shut Ramsey down pretty big time. And I think Tampa Bay's just got a little bigger edge on Philly in defense, and I think they'll shut them down.
I think those are some excellent observations, Rick, and I agree with you.
Yeah, kisses. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
I like the Tampa defense, and Ramsey going to be a good quarterback, I think, but
he got a gun.
Not yet. And with Tampa, great defense, regardless of what happened. And you Indianapolis Colt fans, you know who I'm talking to now. Don't get too overexcited because there's still 11 weeks to go. Last year there were some Johnny-come-latelys that didn't even make it to the playoffs. So I like Tampa in this game and the 3 points. Geraldo.
Well, I think Rick has it right on the beam because Tampa is payback. They have to win. You know what? They'll have 3 losses if they don't. And Washington, I don't really think they're a real good football team. They have the candidate as a running back, and we closed them down. The Eagles closed them down, and I think Tampa's a lot better defensive football team because we're not healthy right now than Philly, and I think they'll close them down. I like Pittman's running hard, and they're the only thing is I understand Johnson's hurt. They're one of their only real good receivers. But I'm going to take Tampa and the 3. Okay, over to Washington.
Sounds good. And we got lucky today, but these little beetles, ladybugs, whatever are they getting all over you?
Everywhere. I'm telling you. I don't know where they're coming from. They're like thousands of these things.
It's hard to keep my concentration out here. I noticed they don't land on here.
They don't bother me. The old man, they bother you young kids.
It's that soap or something, the deodorant we're wearing.
Yeah, it's an infestation, though. So I know you folks are dealing with it, too, but I just wanted to bring it up, and, maybe that's something we can fall back on. If the picks don't go this week, it's the bugs.
It's the bugs.
Okay, go for it now. It's your turn. Let's get it going.
Oakland at Cleveland. And what are the odds, you think, that last year, let's say December of last year, that you would look forward to this game and see Cleveland favored? Even though they are at home and they're a great team at home, hard to beat, Cleveland favored by 3 over old and slow Oakland. And I tell you, that Janikowski, I got him on my fantasy team.
Oh, you got to love him.
I'm loving him. But he's very shaky.
Oh,
not really what you would call a money kicker.
The biggest thing is you don't know if he's going to be arrested and he won't be around for a while.
Maybe he could change that look, because that look on that picture, it's not a good look. That's a look that says, pull me over, I've done something wrong.
The Couch came back last week because the other kids hurt Holcomb, and he looked awful good. He looked awful. Beating Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh, you just don't do that.
Well, this is a replay of that AFC Championship game back in the 80s. Remember that? It was like 50 below zero, and that was Sipe and all those guys. And I think Cleveland at home, they got it going. They obviously know how to beat Oakland, and I'm going to take Cleveland, and I'll give you the Oakland Raiders, Harry.
No, you're not, because I agree with you. I just told you that the Couch is playing good, and this Green, the kid from Boston College, he's a
good runner.
Been running well, and they have 2, 3.
Don't forget that.
2 or 3 pretty. Well, I'm talking. Maybe you don't want to hear me because I'm bad.
Maybe the people at home want to hear you.
Well, not last week they wouldn't want to hear me. Anyway, I owe you 5 hamburgers, folks. Anyway, I got to take Cleveland until Oakland proves to me that they're a good ball club.
Now, here's an opening for you, Rick, but let's see what you got.
I love Cleveland. Oakland, 0 for 8 against the spread. Anytime you're 0 for 8, you can't sit there and break the odds. I mean, you sit there and say, well, they're not this week. Then they lose. And you say, well, next week, nah, they're going to lose. Old, slow, quarterback still thinking about the Super Bowl last year. Not into it at all. Complaining. The team's griping, complaining. Cleveland played a great game against Pittsburgh. Also played a very good game at San Francisco.
Yes.
Looks like they're starting to gel. And I really like Couch. I like Cleveland a lot this week.
And Butch Davis.
Butch Davis, yeah, the old Miami Hurricane. Yeah.
Not bad. He's got them playing good, and I like their defense, so I take it you're going to have no problem going out on the limb and taking Cleveland on this one.
I like Cleveland a lot this week.
I like to hear it. Now, this is some total agreement going on here. Now, this never happens when Eddie's here. This is unprecedented.
Well, never is a strong word.
Well,
and all and never. Now, we got Kansas City, and are we going to go to Kansas City?
Kansas City and the Pack, and Harry, if you don't mind, you'll pick this one first.
And then we'll take a break.
Well, that's fine.
Don't we? We got to get our heads.
3 games, take a break.
And the Pack is favored by 1.5 points.
Well, I'll tell you what.
At home.
I want to find out, folks. You got these little bugs are all over this. Don't you ever spray this place? It's not those little
spray.
They're not those.
You are living in the '60s.
It's not these ladybugs. They're these little bugs. They're little. They go right through screen doors.
Chief will pick them off your ankles.
Tell Chief to get away from me. He had a whole mess of them on him. See right there? Anyway, he did. Anyway, I'd like Kansas City now. Kansas City, they won last week. Dante Hall isn't going to run back the ball like he has been. He can't keep doing that. But I'll tell you what. I like Kansas City. We're going to see if the Packers are as good as they are, and they are tough up at the Lambeau Field, and they are -1.5. I actually think Kansas City will beat the Pack, and I'll get 1.5 points. I think Kansas City is a better football team. At the beginning of the year when they got their cans kicked, now they played well, of course they played the Bears, haven't they?
Yeah.
But they looked awful good last week against Seattle. It was kind of a grudge man from their old coach, Holmgren. But I'm going to they'll come down. I take Kansas City, and I will give you.
Now, Kansas City was pretty much beat last week until all this happened with the kick return and all that. They didn't look all that great against Denver.
What do you mean they were beat? They were winning.
Harry, I want to know what you think, Rick, about the Pack and KC.
Oh, there's one thing, we did find out that Green Bay is excellent at home. But I have this little theory that Seattle was getting 1.5 from Green Bay last week.
Yeah. Shouldn't have happened.
Shouldn't have happened, but obviously they were. And Kansas City is getting 1.5 this week. Well, if I liked Seattle last week, and I think Kansas City is a better ball club, I'm leaning towards Kansas City this week. And they're also 5-0. And they're undefeated, and Green Bay, there's something about Green Bay. I just don't see Favre. He's not jumping around like he was. Last week he did a little bit, but he just doesn't seem the same there. And I just like Kansas City this week.
Well, guys, guess what?
You're going to take the Pack.
I'm taking
the Pack. Yeah.
And
give me the reasons why you're taking the Pack.
I watched that game last week, and I think maybe it was a Holmgren deal. Maybe you're right. Favre did look a little bit more like himself last week. And, he's an old guy. This is 180-something starts. And maybe the juices are just beginning to flow. But when they do flow, they don't get shut off easily. And I like him on Green. He's tough. They got some adequate receivers. Defense.
Adequate. They got Antonio Freeman. And he had Driver.
But does Favre at his best need anything more than an adequate receiver? Okay. He only needs an opening like this, and he puts the ball there.
That's all he needs. You're right about that. He says he don't need a lot of speed. He don't have to throw the ball for somebody to go get it. He can get it there real quick.
Look at these.
That is why I'm taking the pack. Folks, we got to take a break. Wow. We're going to shake Harry down, maybe a mosquito netting. And we'll be right back with 3 more games.
All right, Chief. Man, I tell you, those little guys. You know, those little things that go. I mean it.
Back in the corner, Billy coming out fighting.
Kenny Bernstein, 6-time NHRA world champion with over 500 career victories. When you've won it all, where do you go from there?
And liftoff, Santa is clearing the tower.
Here's to 23 years of no limits.
Go Kenny, go Kenny. Also sponsoring the Sports Challenge is Village Liquors.
Our great selection of beer, wine, and liquors makes us your one-stop shop for game day. Come visit us
at Village Liquor,
where the customer always comes first. Looking for the best pizza in Aurora? Look no further than Mike and Denise's Pizzeria in Pub. Made fresh to order every day. Call Mike and Denise's at 820-7447, just south of I-88 at 1760 North Farnsworth Avenue. Also sponsoring the Sports Challenge is Randall Liquors. 5 locations in Aurora and Montgomery. You'll always find what you need at Randall Liquors.
After the game or any old time, come visit us at Murphy's in the Northgate Shopping Center for lunch, dinner, or just to relax with friends. Make sure to visit us at Murphy's.
Also sponsoring tonight's telecast is Benchmark Bank. Community banking at its best. Benchmark Bank at the corner of Galena and Constitution in Aurora. We'd like to welcome a new sponsor to our telecast, Dioscoto Incorporated. Specializing in program management, construction management, architecture, and engineering services. Dioscoto Incorporated, a family-owned business originally established in Aurora.
Energy from Nicor. Make yourself comfortable.
And a straight jump off.
All right, folks, welcome back.
Harry's lost, folks. I'm shaking
had some microphone problems.
I'm shaking the bugs out of my head. Whoa.
And actually, we have 4 games left to pick. And, Rick, this is your turn here. Buffalo at the Jets. Great rivalry. 2 teams that know each other well. The Jets, obviously, more of a must game from them. Buffalo favored by 2.5.
Well, this game, last 2 weeks, Buffalo's played pretty bad. Last 3 games, Buffalo's been playing pretty bad. The big-time offense in the first 2 games been shut down. Miami shut it down. Cincinnati shut it down. Philly shut it down.
Right.
So, I mean, they got problems. Henry, somewhat banged up. He played last week, so he scored and he did okay. But Jets getting 2.5. I did say that one with favorite, but I don't know. Herman, Edwards give him a week prepared. They had a week off. He's kind of like a Mormon priest or something. He's a good preacher.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to get him pumped up for this game. I like the Jets.
I think you got to take the Jets here, coming off the week, and like you said, they do Herman Edwards is that preacher type. He's had a chance to sort of, circle the wagons, as it were, and 2.5, not too much to overcome. I like the Jets.
I was going to ask you this. There's a statistic, and I don't know what it is. I can't remember it because I got an excuse. Is that no matter how good one time the Buffalo was, I think the Jets could always beat them, or vice versa, or how good the Jets were, Buffalo could beat them. Which way is that?
The Jets always have had Buffalo's number in the past.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that it? Well, I see the Jets are one of the poorest teams in the NFL, one of 3 poorest teams, including the Bears in the NFL.
Well, we're on the upswing, though.
And they got Testaverde playing quarterback.
Not good.
And I don't know if they're running. They say they have to rest their runner out. Who the real good runner they
Curtis
have?
Martin.
Curtis Martin. They have to rest him. He can't play every down. And they got Cravette. They don't have Coles, their big receiver. I could throw a dart at this thing, so it's my chance to have an opening. I'm going to take Buffalo.
There you go.
Well played, Harry. Well played.
There you go. Try to get a little edge there, Harry.
Yeah,
That's a good
right.
one.
I think those bugs might be having an effect on you.
Eat me. Get away from me, Chief. Oh, he's got it all over him. Look at him. Look him down his side.
No, that's not those bugs. 49ers
right.
and Seattle. And, of course, almost like a home game here for the 49ers, even though they're on the road. It's not far to go. And you got, of course, the Dennis Erickson factor. He's had success up there in the Seattle area, so he's going to be an emotional guy. Seattle favored by 3.5, and I just see Seattle bouncing back this week. 49ers, I think, Rick, almost falling off the map.
Oh, I totally agree. There's another thing. They got Owens out there complaining. I don't know if they have that team chemistry at all. It seems like, they played, you figured last week at home, after a loss, playing Detroit, they would just trounce them.
Yeah.
They went up 17-0. They won 24-17. The chemistry is there. And also, it's this week, after Seattle just went to Green Bay, got their butts kicked, everybody's going to say, they're way overrated. They're not near as good as they are. And San Francisco's just going to come in there and beat them. I don't see it. I like Seattle this week, too. I think they'll rebound.
And I tell you, I'm picking bugs, folks. They're going to lift me out of here. I'm going to go to the moon.
Now, of course, Harry has a little bone to pick with San Francisco. We know Brad interviewed for the job.
Thank God he didn't get it.
Yes.
No, he pulled his name
Sometimes
out.
it's right.
He pulled his name out.
Of a hat?
No, they pulled his name. When he went over to Honolulu, they asked him to take his name out at the...
Didn't want any part of it.
Consideration. They gave him a new contract. But thank God go ahead. You guys talk.
So we already picked.
Oh, you already picked. Yeah. You got Seattle?
We both got Seattle.
Both picked Seattle.
Well, I tell you what, the 49ers are in disarray. They don't have much running attack. They're not playing real good defensively, and they still have the problem with Owens. I don't think he's happy, and I think Seattle is a pretty good football team, and especially at home. They got one of the best. Robinson's a real good receiver. They got Alexander, a real good running back, and they got a couple guys. They improved their defense. I'll take and give the 3.5 and take Seattle.
Well, that's another agreement here, and Eddie's going to be shocked when he gets back.
But he doesn't know when he calls. I don't tell him what we take.
Harry, you'll pick this one. Atlanta at St. Louis. This is the biggest spread of the week, Harry. And, of course, the big spread favoring St. Louis, 11 points at home. And now there's a lot of things you can say. I'll just let you say them.
Well, Falk isn't playing, but and Warner isn't playing, but I'm not a great Warner fan right now. I like the quarterback they have right now better than I do Warner. And they had a week off, didn't they?
Yes,
last week? And Atlanta, they're nothing without Vic. Absolutely nothing. But that's a huge amount of points to give.
That's the biggest spread of the week, and the biggest one we've seen in a long time.
But you know something? That's inside, and they come off of a bye. So they're a little healthier. I'm going to take St. Louis and give you Atlanta. Okay, Rick. Man, folks, it's wild out here fighting these animals.
Holy shit. Okay, you had some thoughts on the Rams. It's a big spread.
Yeah, usually I don't like double digits, but you know what? There was 3 double-digit games 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And the only one that did cover was St. Louis. their offense with Bollinger and stuff, they're getting it together. Atlanta at home, big game, playing Minnesota in the Dome. What happened? Flat. Got murdered.
Right.
I think they're just waiting for Vic, and they're not playing up to par because they're waiting for Vic. It's not the way to play football. And St. Louis had a week off. They want to go. I think they're the one. I still think they're an outside chance for the Super Bowl.
Yes, they are.
And they got a lot of talent. And I don't like double digits, but in here, I like St. Louis.
The only thing they lack is defensively. They're not a super defense like Tampa.
But they don't have to do much against Atlanta.
Their league, and they want to win that
can't
league.
Score.
They want to win that league too.
Right.
And Rick, what do your sources tell you about Michael Vick and when he could return?
I think he's about 2 weeks away still. I think he's still practicing a little bit, but I think he's 2 weeks away.
They took the boot off, I read, and they wanted him back November 2nd, but he said he still says his ankle hurts. So.
And this is the same injury Donovan had? Basically,
they say it was a clear break, just like Donovan had, and he actually was out 6-7 weeks. So I don't know if it's been 6-7 weeks that he's since.
Well, this is the 5th plus a bye week. That's 6 and 2 more. He could go as much as to 9th week.
Yeah,
Atlanta will be out of it by then.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that was Atlanta's whole season. Said let us split our first 8 games, go 4-4, and then we'll worry about the second half.
They haven't split them.
No, they haven't.
So who are you taking there, Commander?
Harry, I'm going to go out on a limb, okay? I'm going to take Atlanta just because of that huge point spread. I'm thinking maybe they can keep it close. This is a dome. They like to play in the dome. They're not going to be...
You'll probably be with Ed there. Ed always takes on.
Well, that old theory that I had last week worked. Team's not as good as it looks, not as bad as it looks.
Right,
just come off an embarrassment. Yeah. And everybody says, boy, Atlanta is bad, like we did.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they come up and bite you.
Yes,
and don't forget, they have a coach who has been around the block more than a couple times.
Oh, big time.
Dan Reeves, and he knows what it takes.
A lot of a pair.
There's always going to be a couple
teams. You think
teams.
the Bears can go to the Super Bowl? Huh?
Absolutely, Harry, and this is a great lead-in. What are you laughing at? They're at New Orleans, the site of our greatest triumph.
That's right. 85.
85. We're still hanging on to 85.
Hey, guys! Get these bugs out of here! Blow that horn again. Maybe it'll scare them away.
The Saints are favored by 5.5, and this is really what we have to decide on here. 5.5, that's kind of a funny number. I don't know what they're trying to say with that number, but obviously the Bears last week, if they would have had a second half like their first half, the Saints may have been double-digit favorites.
Exactly.
But now, and they must love it, they're going to go 5.5. They're trying to get a little bit of money on both sides. And, of course, I'm going to take the Bears here to go out not only to cover this spread, but to go and win the darn thing. And that's just the way I feel.
Well, it's not because you're a Bear fan, is it?
No. We're starting some rookies, and that's going to be a problem. But I tell you,
Tillman played good last night.
Yes, he did.
Played real well.
He sure did.
If there's one thing that they have to fix, it's their offensive line and the penalties, the false starts, and the holding. Can't have it.
Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, go ahead, Harry.
I tell you what. I thought the Bears, what can I say? There's an old cliche. I can't think of it right
time
now.
saves 9.
Catch your ass once. I can't remember this. Old
Dog rabbit.
Yeah, dog rabbit. That's right, dog rabbit. And I do not believe the Bears are any good. They were lucky. They weren't lucky. They played with emotion. They did come out and play with emotion. But if the Saints are going to win, they're going to have to come after them all day, and I think they will. And I think they'll at least beat the Bears by a touchdown. And I just can't take the Bears. I told you last week I can't take a poor team and hope they win. And they're a poor team, folks. We deserve better.
Well, Cordell looks great running that option.
Yeah, and I tell you, he's going to get killed.
That's what the
set him up and go bang.
Cordell still can't throw it out.
No, he can't. No, he can't.
He looks out. He looks at it. It looks like he just says, "I can't do it," so he takes off.
Yeah, it takes 10 minutes for him to decide.
Yeah. He threw it right into Charles Woodson's hands the other day. He throws that out.
Right.
The defensive guy sees it, and he gets it to it quicker than the receiver.
Well, that ball's supposed to be thrown before
the break.
Oh yeah.
He's looking at the guy's already in the break, and here comes the defensive back, and he still throws it.
Right.
The defensive back's in the break.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an arm strength.
throw.
Oh, exactly. Oh, it sure
The
is.
zip.
Well,
Either you got it or you don't.
Harry said one thing last week that made a lot of sense there. When a team's bad, they're bad. He says bad talent. This is Bears with bad talent playing New Orleans that's bad with good talent.
Right, they are.
So, I mean...
And we want to wish Harry all the best. Are you going to be here next week, or are you going to Dallas?
No, I'll be here. I'll be back. I'm going to leave for Dallas Saturday morning and watch the Eagles play on Sunday afternoon and come back Sunday night. My son Brian has taken me as his guest.
This is carry-on luggage?
No, yeah. No, I'm pretty heavy.
Shove Harry up in that compartment.
I sure appreciate it. It's been a blast. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for everything, and it was a lot of fun.
I hope you beat Edwin's butt this week.
Oh, yeah, I won't be able to live that down.
You better. We better jump on him about a 6-1 or a 7-0.
All right, folks, we are out of time, and that's just about it.
We don't have any hats, folks, so I'm just going to get up here and
Harry,
put this.
Put your head in there.
Yeah,
Let's
put
see
this little head. See all the bugs
those
on
holes
there like this, folks?
All the little holes in
the
there.
bowling ball.